Yeah, hold on. We're gonna go to my latest video. Hold on.
I haven't watched it.
You haven't watched my video?
I don't watch YouTube anymore.
It be your own friends. It be your own family. It be your own wife.
I edit your videos. Why do I need to watch them?
Anyways, comments. Here we go. My wife behind the camera. Say hi, wife. You. This did indeed get my subscription. Nice. Damn, I almost failed the challenge. Oreo Man is almost irresistible.
Literally, there's nothing about...
I'm the sexy individual and...
I don't disagree. Like, I think you're sexy, but I also don't think you eating Oreos like that is sexy.
It's people disagree. People disagree, you know? Bigger in real life said, I call that there was a drink or two before recording. Cheers, mate.
I'm sober.
Well, they were talking about me specifically.
Oh yeah, I'm sober, so
yeah.
That wouldn't have been me.
Yeah, I responded in some videos, this is true, but not this one. Just a very serious lack of sleep / overworking and too many Oreos. They responded with saying, Mythbusters prove that without a shadow of a doubt, that lack of sleep is worse than drunk.
It is actually.
Yep, so from now on, we'll just sleep deprive me before recording videos.
Oh my God.
Somebody said my head, when viewed from certain angles, looks like a Sasquatch's head transposed onto a human body.
That's just an asshole comment.
Well, I did ask for hyper-specific insults on that video, so
okay.
Yeah. Last one from Redwire. Thank you for this, Redwire. Trying to make Oreo sexy? Lady, he succeeded.
Hard disagree.
Now, many of you know that I've based most of my channel on this point on dissecting the idea that TTRPGs are one of the most unique forms of storytelling that exists. Yes, there are books, movies, comics, music, etc., and each one of them can tell a story in its own unique way. In fact, I truly believe that there are some stories that could only be told in their specific mediums. Too many times have we seen an animated show get turned into live action, and it just didn't work so well, because it was made to be an animated show.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
And I think that TTRPGs stand above the rest as one of the most niche and unique ways of telling stories. However, there are two different types of ways of this happening. The first one, of course, is a live play, which I've talked about a lot on my channel. The idea of telling a story through this medium to thousands of people on the internet. However, most people aren't doing it. Instead, they're sitting at their tables, telling a story only for them. Only for the people who are there to enjoy it, and maybe the one friend you invited to watch. It's not going to be something for everybody else, just the lot of you. And this makes the idea of deep diving and dissecting these stories in the ways that I do on my channel really interesting. Is it worth doing so? Is it worth trying to dissect this if most of the stories are only going to be for the people at the table? And the answer is yes and no. I've talked about live plays for a long time, and one of the most important aspects of discussing live plays is discussing the players. The fact that you get to watch people in real time make decisions for their character makes live plays such a compelling form of storytelling. This also means that taking into account the player's decisions, actions, and behavior during the game is an important and proper part of media literacy for the entire genre. However, the problem is, many times when I discuss this, people tell me that I simply don't know the players. I cannot assume what they're thinking. I cannot assume the actions that they're taking. And you know what? Yes, this is inherently true. Were I sitting at the table across from my friends, that would be a different story. Because then I understand what they're saying. I understand what they're going through. I know this person personally, and therefore the story that they're telling is much more impactful. However, when I sit here on my YouTube channel in front of a camera, attempting to dissect a live play for people who I have never met, yeah, that then begins to get a little weird in attempting to figure out where their motivations come from. Now, to be fair, much of my videos are improvised. While I think a lot about what I want to talk about, not every single thing is scripted. Because of this, I tend to use words that are more absolutes than true. I will say somebody is thinking something when the truth is that's just the easiest way to communicate what I'm currently trying to communicate. but I don't actually know if that's what they're thinking. It is my interpretation of what's currently going on. I think it is an interesting idea to try and dissect for yourself to figure out if TTRPGs are really worth trying to determine how people tell stories. And the answer for me, of course, is yes. I've built my entire channel around the idea of figuring out how this unique storytelling medium can continue to impact storytelling as a whole. But it is very interesting. The truth is, so many times in my reviews and breakdowns, I have addressed the actions of a player, and a select group of people have told me either two things. One, I'm being parasocial, or two, I'm putting words in their mouth that are simply not there. In fact, one of the most recent examples I could use is my video on the episode A Bard's Lament. There's an incredible display of emotion and empathy that Sam put in front of everybody during that moment. However, I think that it was lost a little bit on everybody in his display of insecurity.
We fought Goliaths for grog. We've traveled across planes of existence so you could fix your fucking daddy issues. But you've never done anything for me. Ever. You've never risked anything. You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. What's my mother's name? What's her name? Easy question. Died in front of me, killed by a goblin. Biggest part of my life. What's her name?
In the video that I made on it, it is clear that this is an amazing moment and it came from a place of vulnerability from Sam. And I say so. And a lot of people just decided to react to that by saying, I guess Jay just doesn't know what acting is. Yes, I do in fact know what acting is, and I am aware that a lot of the live plays that I watch are people just acting. If not literally all of them. But thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. I'm sure that would have gotten lost on somebody at some point. The truth is, I know that Sam was not venting his emotions in real time to his friends because he was feeling that towards them. That's why I spent nearly a third of the video talking about that. Now, clearly Sam was not specifically feeling those emotions towards his friends. However, I do think it's very fair in defense of those who made those comments to call me out on that. Because yes, it's true. I can't just say that he was feeling those emotions unless you only take that at surface level. See, what I was truly saying, and maybe I didn't communicate this properly, I'm willing to admit that, is that Sam was clearly drawing on emotions that pre-existed in order to create that display. The idea of simply saying that somebody's just acting when displaying a very important role is a little short-sighted. And honestly, people who are saying that, I'm pretty convinced you have never actually acted nor met an actor. Acting is not just producing an emotion out of nowhere. It is drawing upon your past experiences in order to present a realistic depiction of what that emotion looks like. We see somebody who's pretending to be an actor struggle with what they're going through, and you'll see them drop their script, look across the room and say, hey, what's my motivation? Now, yes, that is a very tropey statement, and I understand that, but it is actually something people will legitimately ask. Because knowing your character's motivation is super important for portraying them realistically, because it allows you to know the emotions lying underneath the words that they're saying and the actions that they're taking. That is acting, drawing upon previous experiences. And it's a large portion of TTRPGs. When we play our characters, we're drawing on previous experiences. Yes, I might have never actually genuinely been betrayed by my large goth demon girlfriend. However, I can draw upon feelings of feeling betrayed in the past and put that in the display of what's going on in the game. Also, you know, I feel like there's probably a large goth demon girlfriend in almost every single campaign, so feel free to go into the comments below and tell us your story of that existing, because I guarantee that it does at some point. The point is, when you're playing these games, you're drawing upon previous emotions. And in the video where I was discussing this, I was saying that Sam knew what it meant to feel insecure, to feel like he was being ignored. When you are somebody like Sam, somebody who's a jokester, somebody who's a prankster, somebody who's always the life of the party, you do begin to feel that way at some point, because that humor is something you're doing as part of your personality, but it's also just something to protect yourself. And I'm not saying that because I know Sam. I'm saying that because I'm drawing upon my own previous experiences. In high school, I was the class clown. I used humor to make people like me and to defend myself against any criticism towards me. I'm not saying it because I know Sam, I'm saying it because I know it for myself, which is, again, part of acting. So many times do I discuss how a character feels and then I dive into how the player probably felt playing that moment, because I know that they're drawing upon their own emotions in order to display that realistically. Hi, Editing Jay from the future here. Originally, while making this video, I had the intention of putting in a clip from Talks Machina where Liam talks about the bisexual exploration of Vax was based off of his own experiences, and the fact that he doesn't just pull those things from thin air, it is something that he has also gone through. However, given a lot of different scenarios and the fact that Critical Role has chosen to take down all of the Talks Machina episodes, I want to respect that. In the future, I may end up honestly using some clips that I still have from Talks Machina, but please understand that I will be editing Brian W. Foster out of all of those clips. If you want to know more about that, please do your own research. I'm not going to explain it because it is something they want to move on from, and I'm going to respect that. Don't intrude onto people's privacy. But I do think that that clip was integral to this portion of the video, so I wanted to mention it. Thank you. We don't just come up with things out of thin air. The human mind is not actually capable of creating new ideas. And people really hate it when I say that, but it is true. The human mind requires building off of different things in order to create new things. Yes, if I gain two different chemicals and I pour them together to create a new third chemical, I created a new third chemical, but truthfully, it's not necessarily new. It's just a combination of two other substances. So too is how the human brain creates ideas. We draw upon our past experiences. It's how it works. And it's how we create realistic depictions of our TTRPG characters. Now let's loop back to the beginning of the video where I was discussing if this is a story medium worth deep diving into. The answer is yes. It's always going to be based off of people's previous experiences. And that is a lot of what art is. I've stated before on my channel that I believe art is the absence of loneliness. The idea that somebody can create something that doesn't specifically talk to me, but tells somebody else's story in a way that I can relate with. And in that relation, I know that I am not alone because there's somebody else in the world who understands what I am going through. And that creates a beautiful connection between somebody I may have never met before. And TTRPGs is this intimate moment where you could do that at a table with a bunch of people or do it on the internet in front of thousands of people during a live play. It is a form of art, storytelling, and therefore is worth deep diving. However, so many times I have told a story from a live play I have watched, and people have told me that I got the wrong story out of it. One of my biggest examples of this is my video on Ford. When I told the entire story of Ford from Campaign 2 of Critical Role, I discussed that I felt it was an amazing allegory for toxic masculinity, for the idea of breaking through the illusion that masculinity must be a certain thing and instead understanding what masculinity truly is. There are too many people in the world who are convinced of this image of themselves that they think they have to be. And you know what? I know that my audience is a large portion of it because, hey, it is almost all men. So I know that you guys have dealt with this. I know that this pressure to be a man, this masculinity weighs on everybody. And I think Travis did an incredible job exploring it, showing it to its fullest, and showing that, honestly, it's bullshit. A form of viewing yourself and presenting yourself to the world, not a strict case of rules that you must adhere to. And that's what it meant to me. But a lot of people in the comments said that I had gotten the wrong story. Instead, it was about abusive relationships, or it was about kicking addiction, or it was about finding your true self outside of gender. And you know what? Every single one of those depictions was right. It was true because it's what it meant to you. Now, is it important to look at the idea of the author and what they were writing in order to understand their story? No, but yes. It's important if you're going to put your depiction of the story in front of other people, such as like how I do on the internet. I must take into account the player behind the character. That's very important. So yeah, you do need to do that if you're going to be displaying what you got out of things to others. You gotta understand what you're talking about before you talk about it. Every single story that somebody got out of it was the correct story for them. When I was younger, my dad described the world as being just as it is. It's the world. But every single person has a glass window in front of them, a stained glass window specifically. It is made out of all of your trials, all of your struggles, all of your actions, every single thing that you've been through. That changes how you view the world. My glass window is not gonna look the same as yours. But that's the beautiful thing about storytelling. I can look through my glass window and I can see the world tinged in blues and greens. But then you over there look at the same story that I just saw and say, hey, No, that's not what it looked like at all. Come look at my window. And I go look and I see reds and oranges and yellows, and suddenly I see the same story that I just saw in a totally new light. I get to put myself in your shoes and see something new for the first time out of the same thing we both just saw. It is empathy incarnate, and it is absolutely incredible and beautiful, and it's why storytelling is amazing and why RPGs are some of the most pure forms of it, because you get to all sit there at the same time and mix your windows together to view them all in this absolutely new beautiful thing none of you would have seen if you had done it by yourself. And I just can't get over how cool that is, to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and see it. And it's why I love, despite how painful it is sometimes, looking through the comments on my videos after I finish telling my depiction of a story, because then I get to see yours. I get to see a new, beautiful point of view I never saw in the first place. And it's why I think storytelling is the most human thing, because it connects everybody in a form of empathy that was not there before. So to answer the entire question of this video, are TTRPGs, or RPGs, is D&D worth diving into in the same way that we do for movies and books and comic books and music? The answer is yes, 100%. Because it's still just people telling their story in this world. And if we're not here to experience what other people's experience and share our own, what are we here for? And that is something I truly do enjoy. So go out into the world, make it your own, you beautiful bastards. Never forget to play your role.
Happy spooky season!
Happy fucking spoopy season!